Hello friends and welcome into College Football Now. I am Tom Downey. With 2020 National Signing Day just on the verge of being here, we're taking a look at the Oklahoma Sooners 2020 recruiting class, the number one class right now in the Big 12. Now, of course, everything is still subject to change through tomorrow, but as of right now, the Sooners, 23 different commits, 14 of them are 4 stars. There are no 5 stars in this class. But for the most part, this is viewed as a consensus top 10 class. Not quite their rivals being a bunch of haters right now on Oklahoma. The 24/7 Sports Composite has them at number 9. ESPN has them at number 9. And of course, 24/7 Sports itself, not including the composite, has them as the number 9 class for the 2020 season, ahead of teams like Oklahoma, or the Oklahoma ahead of Michigan, and even Texas as well. So we're going to break down the recruiting class, but I'd venture to say many of you already have a good feel for what this class is, so you can hold off on your voting if you want. But I want you guys to grade the Oklahoma recruiting class. Yes, it's not rated as highly as some of those SEC schools. We know how the bias exists, though, in the recruiting class rankings for SEC schools. And if you're a top 10 program recruiting-wise, how can you not give it an A? That's at least my mindset here. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. We'll dive in now to the in-depth viewpoints here. The number one player in this class for Oklahoma, 4-star offensive guard Nate Anderson. Now he checks in at 6'4.5", only 262, so he's going to need to add some size, but he comes out of the state of Texas. A former defensive end, he's a good athlete. He played right tackle in high school. I would not be stretching if he moves inside to guard for Oklahoma. He does need to add some weight, so he could be a possible redshirt candidate. But I'll tell you what, Bill Bendebaugh, the Oklahoma offensive line coach, has done a fantastic job of developing players on the offensive line, a great track record in that area. I would feel pretty confident saying he's going to get the most out of Nate Anderson. The Sooners have had a bunch of great offensive linemen. Anderson, a top 90 recruit, could be the next one. He also has a running mate in this year's class, Andrew Ramm, the 4-star offensive lineman, who enrolled early, one of 12 to do so for the Oklahoma Sooners. He was the number 1 player in the state of Oklahoma. That's a player the Sooners absolutely must keep, and they did that with Andrew Ramm. Good size. They're another player who I think has some potential to be some inside-outside flex in terms of tackle or guard. 6'5", 285, his listed weight. We know how teams lie about that in terms of high school. I've got no verified size for him, so he's probably a little bit under 285, but he has that guard tackle flex, and for the Sooners to get another great offensive lineman in for a recruiting class makes a whole lot of sense. Now, if you're looking for some new Oklahoma gear, have I got a deal for you. Up to 50% off all types of items. I'm talking t-shirts, both collared and not. Well, I guess that's not like a t-shirt. Anyway, hoodies as well. They've got hats and shoes. In fact, these shoes are on sale right now for about 30% off. So head over to chatsports.com/NCAA gear. You can find all types of Oklahoma Sooners gear on sale. That's chatsports.com/NCAA gear. Check the description, check the comments. I've got the link in there for you guys. On to the best defensive player in this class. That is Reggie Grimes, who is the only player we're discussing on today's video who has not signed. However, do not panic. He is still planning to sign on Wednesday, so he should still be part of this recruiting class. Kind of a big get for Oklahoma. His dad played at Alabama. The Crimson Tide wanted him, but he's going to the Oklahoma Sooners. He was, by the way, a 5-star recruit on ESPN, number 123 in the composite. A little bit more finesse than power, and see some highlights here, of course. I just love watching high school highlights because you can really easily tell who the great players are because it's simply not fair. He committed back in November. He's going to be part of this class for Oklahoma, their number 1 defensive player. We've gone through some trench players. Now for a skill guy, Seth McGowan, the 4-star running back recruit, number 133 overall, the number 14 overall running back, kind of that one-cut runner. You can see the broken tackles. That's kind of one of his main selling points. He's not a true speedster. I think a little bit more so he fits kind of the bruiser type back. He's not as big as Samaje Perine, but he's about 6 foot, 5'11 and a half, 215. You can probably add a little bit more weight if you need to. The breaking tackle ability, that's the main selling point for McGowan, as you can see in these highlights. There's all kinds of broken tackles there. Not a speedster. He committed way back in June. And with so many of these top 150, top 200, top 300 guys, pretty much all of the major programs offered him. Oklahoma got him. They beat out Texas for this particular player, among others as well. How about a wide receiver, Marvin Mims, number 168 overall? I know what you're thinking. Hey, Tom, is he related to Denzel Mims? The answer is no, so sorry to burst your bubble on that one. Had pretty ridiculous production, though, at Lone Star High School in Frisco, Texas. Put up ridiculous numbers. Get this, 117 catches, 2,629 yards, and 32 touchdowns. I love high school football because the stats do not make sense. They are absolutely ridiculous. Now, he also, by the way, with that season, broke the Texas receiving yards record and the unofficial, if you will, career or high school mark for most receiving yards in a season. It's high school, it's unofficial because there's not one governing body, but still, the production was absolutely insane. Needs to add a little bit more size on him. He checks in around 6 foot, maybe a little bit under that, 173 pounds, and add more weight to that frame there, but you saw the big playability. He's a yard after catch machine. Once you get the ball in his hands, good things end up happening for Marvin Mims, which fits perfectly in the Oklahoma offense. Now, if you guys want more Oklahoma videos, and you need to subscribe, hit that big red button. Don't let the Texas people here or the Oklahoma State people here get their way. If you want more Sooners videos, subscribe and let the bosses know here at Chat Sports. Hit that big red button today. A common theme in this year's class for Oklahoma, offensive lineman Anton Harrison. He's next up here. Great size, 6'5", 310. As you know, with all of these players, or almost all of these players, needs a little bit more development, but that size definitely fits the mold of what the Sooners are looking for. Next up is Aaryn Parks, another 4-star offensive lineman. He also enrolled early. 6'4", 320 or so. Kind of gives him some tackle guard flex. I would think guard fits his skill set a little bit better. I'll make note for Parks as well. Georgia made a late push for him back in the early signing period. He ended up sticking, though, with the Sooners. A tight end now, Jalin Conyers, the nation's number 5 tight end out of Texas. He's listed at 6'4", 220, so some room to add some weight. Began his career, actually, as a quarterback, then moved into a wide receiver, tight end, running back, athlete kind of role. Was super productive in the red zone, and likely begins his career as kind of a big slot move tight end. Think a Mark Andrews, if you will, and then develops on his blocking skills as he continues his college career. Ohio State made a late push for him. The Sooners kept him, though, of course. Let's get a safety in here. Bryson Washington, another early enrollee. Again, one of 12 to do so for the Sooners. Number 213 in the nation. Some good size on him as well. 6'2", 196 gives him some, hey, maybe he could play corner if he wanted to as well. The Sooners, as the Big 12 needs in general, definitely needs to add more size and playmaking in the secondary. Maybe Bryson Washington can add that going forward. I have a favor to ask of everyone here, by the way. In the comments section, I'm going to out producer Dylan here because it's funny. I want you guys to spam Boomer Sooner because I'm going to make producer Dylan here pay attention to the comments coming in. He went to Oklahoma State. So I want you guys to absolutely trigger Dylan and spam Boomer Sooner. And it's funny because he has to be nice to you guys as well. So do me that favor and put Boomer Sooners everywhere in the comments section. All right, back to the recruiting class here for Oklahoma. How about a JUCO player? Perion Winfrey, the nation's number 1 JUCO recruit, went to Iowa Western Community College. 55 tackles, 23 TFLs, 9.5 sacks in 2 years there. Neville Gallimore is gone. Because Winfrey's a JUCO, hoping he makes an early impact and it helps that he's already enrolled. Speaking of early enrollees, that's also Michael Henderson, the number 291 recruit, a 4-star athlete. Began as a quarterback in high school, then kind of moved around a little bit after that. It was after his sophomore season. His senior year was kind of involved in everything there. 945 all-purpose yards. He's got some good size, almost 6'2", 234. Maybe tight end is in his future for the Sooners. Some more secondary help here. That's Kendall Dennis. Not the biggest guy. Got to add some weight. But at the opening, one of those major recruiting events, Dennis ran a 4.4 flat. I like that speed. It's telling to me that Clemson and FSU were also after Kendall Dennis, who's from the South area. All right, Joshua Eaton. Let's get another cornerback in here, another 4-star as well. He flipped, by the way, from Texas to Oklahoma. He's got some great size, listed at 6'2", 175. Comes out of Houston. The Sooners have to add more impact secondary players, and they're hoping at least one of these guys we're mentioning here can be that player. I want you guys to shout out your favorite player in the 2020 class. Maybe it's a guy we've mentioned. It's for Oklahoma, of course. Maybe it's a guy we mentioned. Maybe it's someone we haven't. I liked Marvin Mims because the production is just so ridiculous, it sounds made up. Over 2,600 yards and 32 grabs on like 120 catches or something. Absolutely insane. That's my pick. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the comments section. More secondary players. Look at Oklahoma addressing big areas of concern there. 4-star JUCO safety Justin Harrington, the number 10 JUCO in the nation, number 1 JUCO from the state of California. 7 picks in his 2 years over at Bakersfield College. Again, great size, 6'3", 197. Get some more bulk on him. Maybe it could be a strong safety for you. All right, now it's on to the 3-star players. Shane Witter, another early enrollee. The first of these 3-star recruits. He was actually the number 7 recruit in North Carolina. Good speed, a bit undersized, only 6 foot 222, but speed matters. Oklahoma flipped him from Oklahoma. Next up is the quarterback recruit for Oklahoma. That is Chandler Morris. Now, he is definitively undersized. He's going to check in. He'll be listed at 5'11". He might be closer to 5'10". By the way, yes, he is the son of Chad Morris, but great production at Highland Park High School. When you have great production and you're a coach's kid, that tends to make you a pretty easy offer for a major Power 5 program. You have Spencer Rattler. I don't think Morris will compete for the starting job right away or even in year 2 or year 3, but you definitely need depth in college football at quarterback, and at minimum, Morris should provide that. An athlete now, DJ Graham, who played some receiver and some cornerback in high school. I wonder if cornerback might be a better fit for him both at the next level in terms of college and the NFL, and just to make a bigger impact for the Oklahoma Sooners sooner rather than later. Speaking of sooner than later, get it, guys, sooner? Literally no one laughed in the office. Wow, I'm so disappointed by that. But you don't want to wait to get yourself a Valentine's Day gift. Head over to ProFlowers at chatsports.com/flowers. And if you use that URL, you will save 15% off flowers and gifts. So head over there right now. Get it taken care of. If you want a pro tip, by the way, get the cookie box for your wife or your girlfriend. That way, you get some of the cookies as well. It's chatsports.com/flowers. And by the way, yes, I had that in the comments and the description for you guys. Another JUCO here for the Sooners. That's Josh Ellison, early enrollee out of Blinn College. Was a 4-star recruit when he originally committed to Texas A&M. Grades forced him to JUCO. Now he's coming to the Sooners. He's 6'3", 295. Number 500 overall. Nice even number right there. Noah Nelson, big boy, 6'8", 295. Michigan and UCLA had made some pushes for him, and I wonder if maybe that makes Nelson a potential sleeper in the class of 2020. All right, Noah Aaryn's a 3-star defensive end is next up here, 6'5.5" or so, 234 so. Add some weight on him. The question is, okay, do you add like 15 pounds, make him an edge rusher, or because he's almost 6'6", do you add more like, as weird as it sounds, 50 or 60 pounds? And he becomes a 5 technique, that 3-4 defensive end. That's a question the Sooners, I'm sure, will make quickly in his college career. Now, as Oklahoma sits in the Big 12 recruiting ranks, I mentioned that they were number 1. They are ahead of Texas right now by 2 spots. Then a pretty significant drop-off. TCU is now number 29. West Virginia is 37. Iowa State is 42. There's a reason, for the most part, it's Oklahoma and Texas at the top of the Big 12. So speaking of the Big 12, who will win in 2020? I know we got some Texas fans who watch us here at Chat Sports, but Even with Spencer Rattler being a bit of an unknown, I still think Oklahoma, who's done it with a different quarterback every year under Lincoln Riley, is the obvious pick here to win the Big 12 in 2020. All right, some final 3-star recruits here. Braden Walker, whose father, Denard, by the way, played at LSU and in the NFL for like 9 years, but he goes to Oklahoma, who the Sooners flipped from Oklahoma State. All right, a receiver here, Trevon West, skinny kid. You got to add some weight to his frame out of Arlington. Had over 1,000 yards, 16 TDs. And to be quite honest, I think Lincoln Riley's track record of IDing and Oklahoma's track record of IDing receivers makes me think this could be a sleeper. And then the final player here, Brian Darby, straight out of College Station, checks in at number 963. I'll make note he could be a potential dark horse here because he was very lightly recruited even amongst the Big 12.